Hear the world calling, but son, don't you listen. They're only trying to drag you back into prison, that's right.
Welcome back to What Have You.
Howdy, howdy.
Here we are. We meet again. This
Once
time
more into the
This
breach.
time in a car with a vintage sewing machine in the back of it.
We finally found things at Goodwill this time.
Well, she is the one who...
I nailed it.
The funny thing is that last time we had a podcast, I was telling a story about when I was at Goodwill the last time in the pizza cones.
Yeah.
The pizza cones.
Yeah.
That's when I saw this sewing machine.
Really? It's been there that long?
It's been there that long.
I haven't been in Goodwill lately, I guess.
Well, that was the last time I've been in there. And anyways, Becca found it.
It is.
She's sewing machine spotted.
It blesses me.
But I already have a sewing machine at home, and then I have...
too, but this one is rad.
Let me be clear. I have a sewing machine at home, and then I have a sewing machine in a cabinet at home that's already a vintage one that I have not really put the time in with, so...
Well, this is a little side table. And it's actually not a bad shape as shapes go. Sometimes they're horrible, and this one's okay. It's in bad shape, and I need to scrape it and paint it.
But the important point is that it's a metal aqua.
It is the cutest bright aqua sewing machine, and it's one of those heavy metal
We don't know yet
ones.
if it sews.
Yes, we do. I plugged it in.
But we don't know what it would do with thread.
We don't know what it will do with thread, but
just stay tuned to find out.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
I think that there's something so reassuring about the sound that an old metal machine makes. It's just such a beautiful...
It's confident.
Whirring
It doesn't do that thing
noise.
where it goes... It just starts with the hum.
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
Like,
it's beautiful. And this one is awesome and aqua. So how could I pass
it go
by?
wrong?
Also because my old faff, it's like from the 80s, and it's plastic.
My old faff sounds like a blog title. Like this old house.
My old
faff.
Sounds like one of those made-up recipes that you were sending me
right.
earlier. Anyways, it kind of makes bad clicky noises. It feels like it needs to be oiled, but I've oiled it. Sometimes with canola when I
Whoops.
sometimes when I get into desperate times. Anyway, this one is totally cute, and I got it initially with a sort of altruistic motive that I would give it to my girls for their bedroom to have. And anyway, I was like, no, never mind. I actually really like it.
You went through that?
I went through it
In
my head.
You lucky listeners. I snapped some photos of Becca in her sea of discovery at Goodwill.
Which I'm going to have to censor.
It included her pulling the thing over to the wall, plugging it in, flipping it open, and then the bobbins fell out. So pretty soon she was crawling under the sewing machine cabinet.
I was checking the underneath to find out if there were more storage supplies under there.
It's going to be good.
And there were. So
she was pretty glad about it.
I was also strangely moved by a light table, like an old 1960, you know, that kind of industrial green color, hefty table with a little light table inside for drawing, and it had little sliding rulers to hold your paper down. It was really
compelling. It was really compelling.
Actually was really compelling.
If the cord had not been severed completely. And
yeah, but I was looking at that and I was like, I've wired a lamp before.
I can handle this.
I might be able to.
I'm on it.
But the thing is that when you need a light table, you need it. And if you don't have one, then you have to do what I do, which is drag open your dining room table, remove the leaf, find a pane of glass from somewhere, put it across, get a lamp, plug it in underneath the table.
But the good thing about this system, this complicated system, is that you have to really mean it.
Yes, but it's also hard.
You don't just jump to thinking you're going to use a light table.
Well, you don't always need a light table, but when you do need one, usually you need it.
When you do need one, you wish you had one with the wiring severed.
Well, this is kind of cool. And it had this like little rotating top. It was on a pedestal with a you could tilt it and set it at the right angle.
I make fun of this, except for that I was very compelled by a quilting hoop, which on a stand. which I don't need right now either. But I didn't buy it, so it's okay.
But the light table, I might go back for it. I would have bought it except for I got distracted by the sewing machine. So
this is why we shop at Goodwill.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah, because for $12, you could be the proud owner of a vintage light table.
Yeah. Whew.
Now that I'm talking about this, I'm really regretting that I didn't buy it.
It actually reminds me of, there's like a meme, isn't there, that says, why would I buy that when I could, for $7.99, when I could make it for $84.50 in crafting supplies?
No, but I was feeling like it had a kind of cool industrial look, and I actually was thinking it might be fun in Judah's room. Not that he needs a light table, but he might. You don't know.
Who am I to say? Who am I to say that Judah won't suddenly be needing a light table?
But see, somebody will in my house. I don't know.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate preparedness to already have an industrial light.
I might need to go. Maybe it'd make a kind of an interesting conversational piece for the living. No,
we're already giving it a dry rub at that.
My house is weird enough without that.
So
anyway,
back up. Today, I have not been following so Becca wrote a book, Eve in Exile, which you read, which you loved, but I have not been following its progress around anywhere else. Have you been following it? Has anybody looped you on this?
Not really.
Well, my husband tells me that he saw somebody somehow, guys, this is a real trail of things, but he was just getting the giggles really bad about it. He said that Jory Micah, maybe it was your Desiring God article that was about Eve in Exile, that Jory Micah tweeted something about
I heard
how
she
Becca
maybe
Merkel
did.
is wrong and doesn't know what she's talking about something. So, but my husband was like wheezing because he said he did not have it on the tip of his mind who Jory Micah was or why anyone would care what Jory Micah had said.
Well, I don't know that they do.
Well, I think Jory does. I've heard.
She does.
I think she cares. He clicked on the link though, and then he said the first thing that popped up was oh man, I'm not even gonna be able to say this. The gender wage gap worse than ever in the clergy.
By golly.
And then I was like, oh, expose. Women pastors not being paid as much as men pastors all around conservative Christian churches. And then it didn't say specifically conservative Christian because I know that's not her circuit. But then what I saw is that her byline, I don't know if this is her blog, says shattering the glass
breaking the glass steeple.
I was like,
I saw that.
Have got to be joking
hilarious.
me. Because not
so
that
funny.
I'm really pulling this out of the old annals, but like the symbolic nature of the steeple is the wrong one to be out to strike a blow on.
Yeah.
Like the idea of this pointing towards God and it's not a human power grab that we're looking at.
Well,
with
and
the
if you're
steeples.
trying to break through it and soar above.
Well, that's what just seems pretty funny to me. Like
it's like no, the pulpit actually is down below.
But
steeple.
Apparently the way that I'm going to soar above the steeple and shatter all these expectations is by demanding higher wages.
Well, and you know what struck me the other day? Because all the feminists are shouting their heads off about the wage gap right now. Which
it's like a thing, isn't it? Wasn't it like a day?
I don't know. But anyway.
Is it because the other protest didn't go well enough?
I don't know. But anyway, they're having a thing about it, which is demonstrably false, that the wage gap is even a thing. But it's one of these urban myths that is perpetuated. You can do the research and you can find out that the wage gap is largely a construct in the feminist imagination. However, why did I bring that up?
I don't know. I actually think Becca wanted a lot of blowback from this episode. She was looking for a lot of people getting wound up and stressed out.
You can even look up like actually feminist academics who are saying this is baloney, the wage gap is ridiculous. But they were shouting about it, right? The feminists were all fussing about the wages thing. And then I happened to be reading, the parable where Christ is
if you come and you agree to the wages,
you can't fuss about the wages. Like, it's sort of specifically mentioned. No, it wasn't even the parable. No, it was a different verse altogether that was saying, be content with your wages. Like, it was just a straight up command. I should find the reference now because...
Right. But the thing that I think is so funny about it with the parable, even though that's not what you were referring to, is that is the most aggravating situation known to man. And all of our children, we don't do that exact situation, but we've all been in that where, you know, you say, oh, if you help me with this and such, when we're done, you can have a cookie. And then other kids come in later and you're like, oh, help me with this. And when you're done, we're going to have a cookie. And one of them labored all through the heat of the day with you and still just got a cookie, like was originally promised. But they were fine with it. It's like, it's funny that for most of us, we would think that was an unfair, like, don't do that to your children because that's not fair and that's not kind. Right. But it's like, except that's an actual parable that Christ tells of that you better be fine with it if you agreed to do a lot of work for one dang cookie and another person did less for it.
Is that there were later Jewish writings, and there's one where it actually goes through the identical story, and it ends up with Jesus citing it's not Jesus, but because it's a later thing and it's not.
But they have them
they're
side
not Christian
with
at all. But it's like, darned right, you get paid more.
Yeah, you did a lot more work. You deserve better.
But then tying it into like, and the Jewish people, they're the ones who labored all day in the field.
So,
anyway,
all right, they get more.
It's basically like inverted the whole point of that parable.
This is a thing that I think really ties in with something that we work hard on with our children, which is just rejoicing for people who rejoice and not making everything about you. Like, it's not comparative.
Sidelong glance.
Sidelong glance is
deadly.
I always think of the track shirts from when I ran track in high school. That the back of our t-shirts all said, "Don't look back, you're not running that way." Because, like, just look where you're running is essentially. And I tell my kids this. If you are running full speed, do not turn to look at all the people next to you, or you will run into the envy tree. It's like, when you are looking straight ahead of you, you never run into the envy tree. Like, you're just like going, doing good. This is what I'm focusing on. This is what's, you know, and it's no problem. But when you're like, how many scoops of ice cream does he have? And then it's like, I no longer care for my ice cream. Nothing is good in the world anymore because I think she got more.
No.
That's a big deal, though, because
what is it that Ahab, when he couldn't get the vineyard, and
he
then
turned
he
his face to the
wall
and like
wanted
wept
to die.
No, and he would not be consoled. Doesn't it say he would not be consoled?
Yeah.
I feel like he was like on his bed with his face against the wall, refusing to be comforted.
Doing the ultimate
sidelong
glance crashes.
And it's so funny because you say a sidelong glance, and what does it lead you to? Rubbing your face in the corner of your room, refusing to be comforted. Like, you're looking at other people's things here. Like, and I don't think, I don't feel a particular, I know that I don't particularly struggle with this, but I know a lot of people who do struggle with that on Facebook or Instagram, that seeing what other people appear to be doing is a major trouble in their life. Like, like, it's the FOMO thing, the fear of missing out all the time. Like, being in a, you know.
I found the verse. I'm sorry, I broke the rule and I Googled, but the verse I was looking for is Luke 3:14. Some soldiers asked him, "And what should we do?" He replied, "Don't extort money. Don't accuse people falsely. Be content with your pay." And it's like, it doesn't get much clearer than that, doesn't it?
No,
it's like,
so good.
Don't accuse people falsely. And it's funny how sometimes those things go together.
So much together, because
you accuse them falsely.
He doesn't even do as much work as I do, and and he gets paid more.
Because it's like, you want as much money as they're getting, so it leads you to fudge the facts about the work they're doing.
Falsely accused.
Yeah, falsely accusing all over.
I was recently, not recently, time just flies, but one of the things that struck me a while ago is that I realized, in the Ten Commandments, shall not bear false witness against people, that we tend to think of that as being a courtroom setting.
Yeah.
And like think that that's not really something that I struggle with.
Unless
because
you're perjuring yourself.
right, like how often am I called into court where I want to lie about
where you
someone?
put your
You're
hand
like,
on
yeah,
the
that
Bible.
would pretty clearly be low blow. Like, shouldn't do that. But how often are we tempted to bear false witness in our own little courts, in our own little minds about people?
Oh man, oh man.
Like, where we happen to be the prosecutor and the judge.
And
you
the
know,
jury.
We're all of it.
And
we're
the plaintiff.
we're the whole story. And how often are we tempted to do that with those, closest to us? Like, say one of your children is disobedient. The temptation for many mothers is to take it personally.
Yes.
And to immediately
Yes.
start being like, he doesn't even care that I do all this work for him and I've been changing his diaper for, and you're like, seriously, this kid is just struggling with his own sin. It's not about you, like, it's a problem, yes, but it's not just about you. Anyways, I think bearing false witness is so much easier.
But it can also, you can make it all about you by behaving that way.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, you can become the worst part of it.
You can put deposits in their little resentment bank. I mean,
Yeah, but I actually meant that just in general, sweeping, like, with your family, with your friends who post something on Instagram, like, you don't know what they're thinking when they posted what a sweet group of ladies I got together with. And
Right.
and you're like,
I have friends.
they put that on there specifically because they knew that I would look at it. And they
Right.
did that to make me feel like no one cares for me. And that's what they were thinking. Instead of thinking, sometimes it's a little thoughtless, I think, of people to do that. I think it's to be like, beautiful hospitality by... So, like I'm thinking, well, some hospitality should just keep it to yourself that you had a fun time. You know what I mean? But I can feel that way about all manner of things. It's not... Well, my point is, I think people should be thoughtful. It's not like you should just not worry about it, is what I mean.
Right.
But I say, at the same time, you should never be
Basically,
insulted by someone else having a good time.
You should be extending grace to everyone else, not assuming that everyone else will extend grace to you.
And not bearing false witness in your own mind about how this was about them not liking you. Or
Well,
about
but
something
the
else.
thing is, that just goes to imputing motives, where basically whenever you try to fill in somebody else's heart motivations, even if you know them well,
What is it that Dad always says
you are
about
likely
we want
to be wrong.
We want to be judged by our motives, but we want to judge others. No, we want to be judged by our motives, intentions. I don't remember. But we want to judge everyone else by their actions. Like, we leave their intentions or motives or thoughts out of it.
But then we fill them in, and usually when we fill in other people's motives,
They were malicious.
they were malicious motives. You never think, oh, she was probably doing that because she was
It's
having
actually a really
hard day.
actually a really good life skill to work on creative storytelling in your own mind. That is the possibilities. Like, if someone is really unkind to you, and I mean objectively unkind, not like just like they thanked someone else for their hospitality on Instagram. I mean, if someone actually is rude to you about something, to think of all of the ways that could very well not have been. Like to just assume that there are a lot of reasons that could have happened.
I'm just going to share somebody else's story. But it was
Do it.
Kay Warren, Rick Warren's wife. I was at a conference with Ben a month or so ago, and it was for college and university presidents and their wives, and then the wives had a separate tract, and she came and spoke to us one night, and she told this story, and it was really sad because she had lost her son, and then she visited his grave frequently and took flowers. Then she had lost a friend, so it was the day of the funeral, and she had gone to the funeral and they were going to the graveside service. So she stopped at a grocery store to buy flowers for the friend's graveside service, and she also bought a bunch for her son. And so she said it was a heavy moment. Like, she was walking into the store. This is where she always stopped to buy flowers for her son's grave. And so she said she was just struggling. Like, it was a difficult moment. There was a guy sitting out front asking for money for something. And she said, not today, thanks. And just went past. And she said, and she usually tries to give because she's just kind of aware that she's a public figure and, Anyway, but she didn't that day. She just said, not today, thank you. And went on to the graveside service. And then she got a letter later from him saying, I just wanted you to know that I saw that, and I have given a lot of money to your church, and I saw the hypocrisy, and I saw how rude you were, and but it was
from
just
the very guy,
from the guy
from
who was like, I recognized you, and you didn't give money
to me.
Well, to whatever cause he was supporting. But it's
right.
basically like, I have given money to your cause, and you wouldn't even, and she said, I'm sure that I looked like I was having a hard time, because I was having a hard time. And she said, and I think he just read it as, you're angry and you
Right.
blew past me and you were rude. But it's just so easy for us to supply the backstory when we actually have no idea what the backstory was at that particular moment. And she was really dealing with something fairly big, and he just read it as,
You're so selfish.
you're so selfish, you wouldn't even spare a couple dollars, Anyway, that was just, it's one of those things where it's a good lesson.
Yes.
To
you're
not,
like, don't
like-
do that.
Like, she just looked so angrily at me, and I know that it was because she hates me in her heart. Where it's like,
Well, one thing.
there could be other
one
things.
thing. So years ago, when I was nursing the twins, so the twins were, they're 9 now. So, anyways, whatever. It was when they were newborns. The Easter when they were newborns,
Yeah.
and you were in England. So they were babies, and then I would have had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So we were in the living room at our house, and I was sitting on the couch nursing the twins, which is
Just pause and do that thought experiment, everyone, really quick. 4 children under 3.
yeah. It was a time. So I'm nursing the twins, which in itself, side note, is a hilarious operation, because somebody gave me what is the group? La Leche League Nursing Multiples book,
Okay.
which was a trip on its own. It's amazing. But the funniest thing is that they name all of the ways that they sound like ice skating moves. It's like the clutch cradle combo, the double clutch, the double clutch. It was like very funny. Anyways, but I was sitting, so both of my arms are clearly occupied because I'm holding 2 infants.
Right.
Nursing them. Well, my husband is goofing off with a punching balloon and the 2 other girls in the living room. And it was a pretty big living room, so they were all the way across the room from the couch. And he tosses the balloon in the air and swings their they had their play broom, and he just swung it. It was like a Melissa and Doug one with the wood and the head came off of it. So he swings it like really hard, and that wood broom top just flies across the room at me. I mean, and not like, it was on a rope across the room. It was not like a lob. And I'm holding babies with both arms. There's nothing I can do. I just I turned my head to the side, and it hit me right in the bridge of my nose. And that Easter, so I am fat postpartum with twins. And this is not the kind of time when you feel at all together. Because not only are you in the normal fat postpartum phase, except for it was even more stretched out, even more redonkulous. But
you should add that both twins were over 7 pounds. So,
there was a good 15 pounds of baby, and then 4 pounds of placenta. I was enormous. And as my husband said jokingly when we found out I was twins, I was going to have stretch marks on my forearms. And he's a good man. He made me laugh. But anyways, that moment, so I'm fat, I'm nursing twins, which is, you don't think about it if you haven't done it, but nothing feels as unflattering as that. It does not feel maternal and delicate at all. I would hold a blanket in my teeth to try to cover it, because you can't it's just completely.
You have no free arms.
And then not only are you in the most precarious nursing position known to man, but people, when you're having to do this out in public, stop to try to figure out what's happening.
That's good.
Because they'd see their feet and be like, are there 2 in there? What's going on? And I'm like, move along. But so at this
just
moment,
seemed like a pop-up tent to put up around yourself.
Yeah. Well, no, I had one. I think Mom got me one of those nursing whatever things they are.
Nursing igloo.
Yeah, yeah. It was one of those ones that goes around your neck. And I was the closest I've ever been, I think, in my life to having a claustrophobic panic attack, because because the little thing that pulls out so you can look and check on the baby. I couldn't see either baby. And I tried it when they were like brand newborn, so it was really not good. And then I couldn't move because you're completely like both of your arms are busy. You can't just drop a newborn out the side and hope they land okay, and you can't be confident in moving at all with no free hands. So I had a panic attack when I tried it, so I didn't do that again. Anyways, all this is a long story to say that I just get beamed right between the eyes. Just enormous double black eye. Like, so this is for my first postpartum Easter. And so, also,
I hope you had a good hat.
Also,
and
I had no...
And a good matching outfit.
I had no hope in the world of having the time to find an outfit to wear to eat. I mean, like, there was nothing. Mom went and got me. She just, like, bought a skirt at Ross or something. I mean, you know, in her very loving mom handling the problems kind of a way. And I remember just being like, I don't know anymore. I don't know what kinds of clothes I can fit in. Like, I wasn't sure I would ever locate.
I'll stay here in my igloo.
Right. It was like, I don't think I'll ever locate my old body again. Like, I think it got lost in transit somewhere. Like, and it did end up being sort of a problem. I had to do a lot of physical therapy stuff. But at that point, so I was wearing I'm sure it was cute elsewhere, but it was not cute on me. Black skirt with white polka dots, and then like a blue sweater. Oh, I just remember everything about that whole thing felt like the worst. And then enormous double black eye. So, but you know how long black eyes will last, like 10 days. Or, it went on for a long time. And my husband is very big. He is 6'6", big guy. And then we have all these little kids. So this is quite the backstory. But everywhere that we went, I could not believe the reactions, like the physical reactions people had to a mother of all these little children having black eyes. Like,
well, because you would assume.
Yes, and then here's my poor husband walking with us, and everyone's like, "You wicked man!" Like, assuming horrible things. It was like, no, it's just a Melissa and Doug Broom. I mean, like, you know, it's just, and it was a very funny thing. But it did. What really struck me at that time is I was like, oh my word! If I ever see a woman that I think is being beat up, I should ask her, are you okay? Yeah. Because it was amazing how people would look at me and like react physically. Like, because it like brought an uncomfortable subject matter up. Right. You know, like, oh my word, what might be happening? And then really like turn away, not make eye contact, avoid you like crazy, which made it feel I was like, it is no wonder to me that a woman who's actually getting beat up would go to great lengths to hide it. Like, to be like, don't treat me like I'm not I did wear sunglasses. I did get a big pair of sunglasses because it was like, I can't take this, that it is making everyone look at my husband like this.
Oh, it's horrid.
But it was a good spiritual Easter. It was a sanctifying.
It's like, let's remember what this is about, and it's not me. See, now we have people here. Is it a cop? Is it a cop coming to check us out?
No. What I think is funniest is that we come to this place, but then we're creeped out by other people coming to it.
Well, because it is weird.
I think that they're as creeped out by finding us here as we are.
I know.
Anyways,
we're supposed to be alone, guys. This is our hilltop.
Anyways, it's funny because that moment was just such a good, like, what are we doing? Why do we go to church on Easter? Like, do we do this because we feel really good about ourselves? Mm-hmm. Like, no. Let's just go through all the reasons to go to church, and yes, I qualify for all of them.
And none of them are my good outfit.
Or my lack of black eyes or my skinniness. I don't go to church because I'm skinny. I once had a revelation about being postpartum fat. I'll tell you. One time I've had lots of opportunities to be postpartum fat. I've done this a number of times, but I remember some time where it was like none of your clothes fit because what if you didn't have fat clothes from that season?
Yeah, it's true.
You know, like what if it didn't? There's all kinds of obstacles. So I didn't have anything to wear. You know, it's just one of those times where you're like, I really don't want to go to church because I can't find a clothes to put on my fatness. And And well, you know what I mean.
I
It was
know.
not.
Oh,
It
I've
was
been
not.
there. I know it.
I'm not trying to over dramatize it. I'm just saying. And through the years, I've gotten really good at kind of the "that'll do, pig" approach.
You might need some context for that.
You know the end of Babe, the movie, where he says, "That'll do, pig." It's like, good job, pig. I don't know. I always think of it like it won't show from a trotting horse. Doesn't matter. Just wear it. Don't think
Yeah.
about it. Just, move on. But this one time, I specifically remember thinking, what is it that is bothering me about wearing something I don't like?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Or like something that I'm just not... Because I do actually like clothes, and I do actually like... And it's something I enjoy. I don't enjoy it when it is no fun. So... Anyways, I had this moment, and I was like, what is it that I'm concerned about? And I was like, because it's like if someone looks at me and thinks, thank the Lord that I don't have to work that hard to lose the baby weight. What would be wrong with that?
Right. Is that your phone?
Apparently.
You turned your
Sorry,
ringer.
I thought I turned it off.
Did not turn it off.
It was like, what would be wrong with that? Like, if they see me and think, I'm glad I don't have to deal with those, 20, 30 pounds of baby weight.
Right.
Why would that offend me if they think, praise the Lord, that I don't have
You're
that
just
problem?
bringing gratitude to others.
Right, like it's actually not a sin for them to think, I'm glad I don't deal with that. And I thought, and then the other thing is that that's fine. And if they're actually snarky, like, which I'm not accusing anyone of being snarky, but if someone was going to feel judgmental about it, why would I care what they think?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, seriously, I'm just going to go worship God here.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a rip about the situation with my outfit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because it's not about you when you go to church.
Yeah, it's not. So now
It's
you
not
all
the
know a
center.
lot about my postpartum fat
Yeah.
phases.
Yeah.
I've really shared.
You know it.
Becca,
You know it.
you just let me keep talking
I
about
did.
that for
I
too
did.
long.
Well, the Melissa and Doug Broom, that was a tragedy.
It was a high point.
I do remember that Easter, actually.
I do, because you were in England.
Yeah.
And I feel like you cried on the phone with me at that time for some reason. Like, because it was Easter, because we were all tired.
I might
Because
have.
you were across the
I
world.
might have.
Because we could only talk when it was like midnight here and 8 in the morning there, or 8 in the morning
Yeah, it was
there,
hard.
midnight
It was
here.
hard. But the time I remember crying on the phone with you was when you called to tell me you were having twins.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It just like I was
Oh,
like,
you were just
you
a
found
world
out what
away.
you're having. What is it? And if you'd said boy or girl, I would have been like, yay! But you said twins, and I cried.
It was because I said we found out what was like. We did find out what we're having, which we
Yeah.
didn't, because that was only 10 weeks along.
right.
But it was just a joke,
Yeah.
sort of. And then the twins was a journey.
But I think it was also sort of right after we'd gotten to England. And
Yeah. No, it was
it felt
like you
very
were
far away.
missing the
Yeah.
whole.
I wasn't going to be there.
You
when
weren't going to be
had
there when
the
they're
baby.
born. It
Yeah.
was all very sad.
Yeah, exactly.
That was not.
And
as
then
much
you
fun.
had black eyes,
Then I had black eyes, and,
just to top it off.
but you. Just to kind of round out that whole experience, I got black eyes.
Oh,
It
but
was
God
good-
felt like it was the good touch that it needed.
It was, and I feel like I should go back. I think I blogged about that back when that happened, and I should go back and read it, because I remember there being some things about that. Like, I think Luke wrote me a really sweet note about that morning. It's like, to my wife, before you even go near the closet. It was like a very
That's good.
sweet. It was
That's
a
good.
very sweet, like, kind of like, let's just remember that what we're celebrating is being undone for others. Like,
Yes.
that what we are
Yes, as being
celebrating is
broken.
being broken and
Yeah.
laying down your life for others. And
Being broken to bring life to
yes,
somebody
it
else.
was like, this is a celebration. Like, there's no more. I think he said something very sweet. Like, there's no more appropriate way to be celebrating Easter than in a very broken bodysuit. In a very broken body, and a very, and the black eyes was definitely the cherry on top of the disaster.
It's so funny though, and tragic and sad, but hilarious.
But it was funny even at the time.
Yeah, no, I remember it was.
just being like, you have got to be kidding me that this is why,
This is
Lord,
what we are
why,
coping
Lord.
with.
Yes, but those were all good formative times.
They were.
Yeah.
They were
So
indeed.
we should move on to
We
recommends.
should. Yes.
What are we going to recommend this time?
I don't know, because I don't remember. You know,
Last time we did like kitchen things.
Okay, music.
We always are recommending kitchen things. We keep
Yeah,
coming
we keep-
back.
yeah,
we
we
home
can't-
we home to the
We
kitchen.
can't stop.
Okay, music. What about music?
Okay, you're gonna go turn on music while you're cleaning the house or you're cooking, and you don't have to worry about the fact that everyone's shouting in the distance with their games. So it's not like bringing more noise. It's just you want to listen to some good
You
music.
mean like in a really pure moment?
in a pure moment. Everybody's
Didn't
outside.
we already? I thought we already
It
recommended
was one
music.
of the bad ones that we didn't release to the world.
We didn't.
No, I think we kept that one under wraps. I think it was another
Okay.
time that something went wrong.
Okay. What are you gonna recommend?
You go first.
Well, it's. You know what you're gonna say, probably, right?
I don't actually. That's why I need you to
Yes,
go first.
we talked about this already. I feel like we did.
Well,
I think
you
we
and I
talked.
did.
Didn't we talk about Mark Knopfler? Lately, I have been. I busted out straight from the childhood. Steve Winwood.
Steve Winwood. Oh my word.
Yeah,
Whoa.
because it's actually really a funny nostalgic trip for
That
me.
is
Becca had
hysterical.
Steve Winwood on cassette.
On cassette, but I can't listen to Steve Winwood now. It brings back
Come
too
on.
many embarrassing.
Bring me a high.
No, I can't do Steve Winwood anymore.
Well, when
no,
we say doing it all,
Mark
it's not-
Knopfler, I can't help it. He's amazing.
great.
I love the Dire Straits
Oh,
album.
Rebecca, we talked a ton about Bob Dylan.
I know. I told you this, but we did not. It went into the depths that way.
Okay, well,
It was the same night we were
we
making up words.
we both like Bob Dylan, and we both like Mark Knopfler.
As a songwriter, Bob Dylan, yes.
Yeah, he wins it all.
Sometimes he loses on his voice can get.
Yeah, but I really like
Aggressive.
Jacob Dylan's Something Good This Way Comes. That song I
I-
like a lot.
The Dire Straits album Communique is one that I keep listening to right now. And actually,
We all like Bonnie Raitt.
yeah, Bonnie Raitt's got a certain something going.
Mm-hmm.
And Fleetwood Mac. Sometimes I like a good old
I have
Fleetwood
listened
Mac.
to some Fleetwood Mac too, but some of those are less savory.
Compelling.
Well, some are pretty poor.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true. Actually, you have to choose your Fleetwood
You have
Mac
to not
wisely.
get stuck in Tusk.
I actually like Tusk. Don't you like Tusk?
Nah.
No.
But I like Silver Springs or
Yeah, that's a good one.
um.
I like Black Widow.
There's some
actually.
classic. I think if I looked harder, I could find some classic Linda Ronstadt that I would enjoy.
Yeah, it's true, actually. And I do like the Black Keys sometimes if you need something really kind of something to move you forward in your house cleaning. For
I have a
instance.
soft spot for bluegrass.
I don't so much.
But it's very
I don't really.
selected bluegrass songs. Like I
Yeah.
like usually like when I was in a real phase of liking bluegrass, I would like one or maybe two songs in an album, and that is not enough.
No, it's not enough.
Because then
actually.
you're just like, what is
Actually,
happening here?
Knox just bought an album this morning. He was just playing me bits from it, and it's Ray Charles, but it's Ray Charles with a ton of other people, and I think it's called Genius Loves Company or something like that.
Okay.
And but it's like Ray Charles and Nora Jones, Ray Charles and Bonnie
Oh,
Raitt.
okay.
And actually, there were some fun
I bet
songs on that one. So yeah. Anyway, I
I'm
think
not
I
much
keep
of a music buff anymore
I keep
because
putting on Communique at the moment. It just has a sort of I think it,
soothing. It's weirdly
Yeah.
soothing, and
And
I
Mark
think if you listen
Knopfler-
to the words, it's really good.
But Mark Knopfler is I love how he just writes songs about lots of things.
It covers it all.
Interesting
Televangelist,
stuff. The
everything.
Lewis
Yeah.
and Clark.
Or
Mason
what
Dixon
about
line.
let's write a historical fiction about the making of the Mason-Dixon line in a song.
I know the Mason
How was
Dixon
that
line.
about?
Or
And a whole album is named after that song.
or Sonny Liston, you know?
Yeah.
I'll write about a boxer or the founder of McDonald's. I just
Yeah, he
think
covers the
he
waterfront,
does.
and I like that about him because not because I wanted a song about the founder of McDonald's, but instead because it shows a mind that sees story and things that
And
are
then-
like,
and then
turns
translate
it
it
into a
into
beautiful.
poetry.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, he's
One
got
thing,
a good.
when you talk about music, I like Mumford and Sons, but
I don't so much.
but I like a couple of their songs.
Yeah.
But what happens is I cannot take them all in a row.
No. Yeah.
And so, like, if they're in a playlist where a song will come in, then I really like it. And I
Yeah.
love the poetry of the one that we've talked about about when the winter winds litter London with lonely hearts.
Oh,
it's just
such
beautiful.
great
And the way they
alliteration
say that, the litter London with lonely
Yeah.
hearts, is it sounds like the leaves actually where they rock back and forth on their way down.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like an onomatopoeia.
Well, that's what I love about Dylan, is that, like, Bob Dylan, his voice, sometimes he nails it. But universally,
Often
when
not, though.
Yeah, sometimes he nails it. Not always. But when I've heard a song where I think, oh my word, that was an amazing line, and I stop and I look it up, it's almost always Bob Dylan who wrote the song, and it might be being performed by somebody totally other, like Darius Rucker or Norah Jones or something. But it's usually Bob Dylan who wrote it, because he just has such a
His
great
with it.
way
Well,
with
you
words.
just say that there is a reason that he is so well known. Sometimes it
Yes.
is really like,
It is phenomenal. And his Slow Train Comin' album is actually really great, and I love his voice isn't too aggressive in that one, but yeah. Highway 41 cracks me up. Is it 41? 61? I can't remember, but that's a funny song too. Anyway, I really like his
Really, for a flash in the past, I would do CCR.
oh, that's, yeah.
Or the Eagles.
Or Bob Seger.
Oh, Bob's, oh my word, that's maybe a little too much
Or,
for me.
yeah, no, I don't think so. You could do Bob Seger.
Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, yeah, Springsteen.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is like the greatest hits of our childhood.
Yeah, now we're
like,
just wandering down the annals of classic
so
rock.
what would you... Except
like,
for I'm
oh,
not
hey.
into classic rock. I'm into classic rock that Dad listened to when I was a child, so
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, not a lot of great recommends in there. Well, no,
Yeah,
there
there
are.
are.
You just have to
There
dig your way
totally
through
are.
that. Just dig.
yeah, Mark Knopfler. That's the recommend.
Yeah. Well, nice.
That's it.
meeting
We
you
gotta
all.
go. It's
Yeah.
dark. We gotta go home.
We'll see you next
All
time.
right.
Bye.
Bye.